you like to use the term whole foods, plant-based diet.
Right.
As opposed to vegetarian or vegan, which of course is a stricter form of vegetarianism. Why that term, and what exactly does it mean?
Well, first off, I very much appreciate the fact that the vegetarians and vegans, as communities, kind of support our work and are advancing the cause, and they're in a sense doing the right thing in many ways. They arrived at their opinions mostly for ideological reasonings, as we all know, and that's not sufficient to convince a lot of people, of that practice. But the problem is that vegetarians, 90% of those people still use dairy. So the nutrient composition of their diets is not that different than non-vegetarians. And it's the nutrient composition that really matters. Amount of fat, amount of protein, so forth. The vegetarians are substituting milk for meat in large measure, maybe eggs too. Vegans, they're avoiding all animal foods, we all know that. But what they don't consciously think too much about the science, and so they end up eating processed foods and all this kind of stuff. We've all
heard of the vegan junk food junkie.
Junk, exactly. Too often, just a recent study the largest study on vegans showed that the average fat content in the diet is 30%. Their diets are not very good. And we see some health advantages, of course, for vegans and vegetarians, but it's not what it could be if they really follow the science.
So explain for us, what do you mean then by whole foods?
We say vegetables, fruits, grains, legumes, maybe some nuts, of course, too, in a whole food form. And then what I'm saying about that is that we can grind them up if we want to, or whatever we do with them. We can cook them to some extent. That's not a big deal. It's just the fact of keeping the whole thing intact. Instead of, for example, in the case of grains, we refine them. We take the hull away. We're taking the best part away and throwing it, feeding it to pigs. We've been doing it for years. And so, and we just tend to do that. We throw the peels of vegetables and so forth away, sometimes, like maybe peel apples, whatever. And it's really the whole intact food, best served fresh, obviously, as much as possible. It doesn't have to be raw, but we do that naturally. We eat fruits pretty much raw. And so when I'm talking about the whole food, I know the term is not, it doesn't just flow off the tongue very easily. And I'm the one that devised that term because I was very conscious of the fact that my scientific colleagues were perturbed by those words, vegan and vegetarian, and they weren't doing the right thing anyhow, so I was looking for something more to science.